when do you think your best opportunity to get out now since you've been taken?
Immediately, like the first opportunity that I would get. First, it would never happen because I concealed carry a Draco with a super safety in it, and I shoot towards sounds.
Perfect.
You're listening to the Art and More podcast with your hosts, Nathan and BR. Nathan is a Canadian illustrator with a couple years of military experience, and BR is a British anarchist that moved to the States. Both are passionate shooters and community builders. Together, they run the Seaburn art page. Enjoy the show.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Art and War podcast. We're just fucking jumping into this one today. We're jumping in. I'm sorry I was late. This is an episode I've been looking forward to for a minute because I feel like I've canceled the last 4. Just like something has happened, or like I'm moving, or you got stuff, or usually it's me. But anyways, I'd like to welcome back Michael of ARC Training Group.
Awesome. Hey, thanks so much for having me on the show. And yeah, it's been at least the last 4 or 5 times that we had.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. My life has been in a silly flux. I'm glad we finally nailed down a time today. At a time that I'm usually just waking up, I guess. But anyways, we did a course not too long ago. If like sharp-eared listeners, I guess, will remember that Michael's the guy who came on to talk about SERE and SERE training. And we did some pistol stuff, and he teaches up in northern Washington and North Idaho up here. But recently we did a course on like how would you describe the Gray Man Retreat? Like, yeah, I would say like a little bit of everything, a lot of escaping restraints, like basic lock picking, and like a little bit of martial arts, some pistol shooting.
Yeah, it's really kind of a civilian style crash course of a lot of the militaristic SERE type aspects, right? So SERE standing, for those who don't know, is survival, evasion, resistance, and escape. So basically what we try to do is put into a 3-day crash course some of the same kind of core philosophies and tactics that the military get trained on for their worst day whenever they get dropped behind enemy lines. And so it's kind of like in the Taken movie, it's, that special set of skills that is hard to acquire. So it's hard to define it in one really thing. It's a lot of tradecraft. There's empty hand fighting. There's gunfighting. There's escaping criminal restraints. We kind of tie it all in together to help people to be their own first responder, whether here in the States or abroad traveling as well.
Yeah. No, dude, I learned so much. The big takeaway from that is like you can basically escape anything that's not handcuffs. And even handcuffs, you can. I'm just not quite good enough yet. But I felt like such a big dick badass the first time that I escaped out of those like really thick flex cuffs.
Yeah.
The industrial ones you had. Oh, man. So many things that I never would have thought about. I feel like we should talk about that a little bit. Like, obviously, the best thing I think someone can do if they're concerned about something like this is go take a fucking course from someone like Michael. Like, go and find practical applications. Like, hearing about how to do first aid and applying a tourniquet versus actually doing it. You can only hear so much before the knowledge kind of becomes useless, if that makes any sense. Like, you need practical hands-on experience. But I'd like to talk about some of the ways that, say, like, someone's listening to this in their car and suddenly the cartel pulls them over, throws a bag over their head, puts them in their back seat and drives them off. And like they find themselves in a dark room and their hands are bound with tape. Like, what would you do? What are the, like, how would you introduce people to this scenario, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. There's a lot to unpack there, right?
Yeah, sorry. I'm just going to jump in. We did not discuss any of this beforehand.
Just like, hey, there's the deep end of the pool. Let's dive in. So escaping criminal restraints, hostage prevention, one of the main courses that we teach. There are scenarios that people find themselves in, especially for those that travel abroad. If you're an international traveler, whether that's for vacation or not, especially a lot of businessmen and journalists find them in different situations. But besides that, there's always the potential of some kind of abduction case. Even here in the States, there's over 400,000 people that are in the human trafficking and kidnap inside the U.S. each and every year. And so that is an alarmingly high statistic. And there's people that, you would not think would get rolled up that get into this world because they are presumed to be valuable by some criminal element. So it could be as benign as them thinking that you have information that they could use and exploit, and they try to kidnap yourself or someone else that is close to you. And so that's one of the reasons why we go into this kind of training. And so, like you're saying, there's a lot that goes into that. And the best answer I can give you, and one reason why we kind of couple these skills with defensive gunfighting, with empty hand defense skills, is quite frankly, the best recourse is for you to never get captured in the first place. I'm going to be straight up and honest, don't wait to get rolled up and then where's my escape window? Just don't get rolled up. That's rule number one.
Yeah.
But that's not always possible. And what I like to share with a lot of people is that you can be the baddest actor on the planet, and many of them have still been captured, have been abducted, have been taken against their will. We're talking about, SEAL Team 6 members from our own, the best of the best, guys that sometimes go into harm's way. But even people all throughout history, some of the best war fighters on this planet, talking Samson and David from the Bible, they have also been held against their will, and they've been able to escape, right? So it's not so much can you always prevent it? Sometimes, you might be concussed or wake up from a car accident or any number of different situations in which it could lead to an abduction. So with that said, what's the highest value thing that I could tell listeners right now? The earlier, the better, right? So just think about, everybody's probably, from your listening audience, have seen the Taken series with Liam Neeson, and that one accurately depicts a lot of different elements. But the first one being that the earlier that you can escape is absolutely the most advantageous to you. Because think about, I'm going to throw it back to you real quick, Nathan. What would happen if somebody actually abducted you and they put a hood over your head, threw you in the back of a van, and you're handcuffed because you said you had difficulties with the cuffs. So you're like, oh, crap, handcuffed. And now I don't know where I'm going. What would be going through your mind? And when do you think your best opportunity to get out now, since you've been taken?
Immediately, the first opportunity that I would get. First, it would never happen because I concealed carry a Draco with a super safety in it, and I shoot towards sounds.
Perfect.
But, yes. if that situation ever did happen, I would imagine as soon as possible, as soon as a window opens up, before they can get me to a secondary location and take out all my organs.
Yes, exactly. And that's exactly what we tell people as well, because you did learn something. Absolutely. And there's been some incredible use cases of people who have actually been held captive against their will. Like whenever my wife and I were traveling on our honeymoon, we actually got the opportunity to stay at a missionary's ranch. And one of the people that was also staying there was actually a political refugee from another country. And this small lady had actually been held against her will in the country of Burma, also known as Myanmar. Yeah, for about 6 years, right? Just because she was on the wrong side of the political fence. And what ended up happening is after she was able to escape, she was in Thailand, and the Thai secret police were attempting to take her. And then they would have turned her back over to the Burmese military machine. And after having lived that life for 6 years, she said, no way in hell. And this little gal, scrappy as she was able to actually kick butt of Thai secret police men and make distance and get the heck out of there. And so the point here is that it's not always about how big and how bad you are, as so much as how badly do you want to not get taken. And so motivation is really helpful for, and I think about a lot of the guys, why they put us through a lot of in-depth training in simulation for behind enemy lines. And we would actually spend, multiple days, sometimes weeks, in very uncomfortable conditions in the military as trainers getting ready to teach for the SERE school is quite frankly that fact that if you haven't lived it, it's hard to kind of understand how horrendous it can be. But once you have plenty of motivation to never get caught and taken again. So that motivation is probably the biggest factor. Besides that motivation, you want to be able to try to get out as fast as possible. and everything is going against you the longer you wait, right? Because if they are taking you to a second location, you are going to lose your situational awareness. If you're drugged and you wake up the next day, how long were you out? How long did you travel? Even if you're awake and disoriented, potentially bleeding in the back of some vehicle in a trunk, which direction are you headed? How long did you travel? How fast were you going? Are you even in the same country? There's a lot of questions that are going through your mind, and the best case scenario is to get out within a few minutes or within a few hours. And if you don't, and you make it to that secondary location, and then you escape from there, well, then which direction is help? What's the best recourse after you escape your initial restraints, after you get away from the captors? Because evasion is probably coming next, unless you have some kick-ass friend like Nathan here to come driving by and scoop you up with his war machine. Whatever else.
Draco.
Yes. So, yeah, things to think about, but as fast as humanly possible, if not faster. That's where the skills come in, because it starts with the mentality. But if you have the skills, then you can make do with what you have. And if you have a few escape-oriented items hidden on your person, such as I carry now daily, it's part of my everyday carry. That really helps, especially whenever you go up against some of the hardened restraints like handcuffs, like Nathan was talking about.
Yeah, I remember your EDC, and we'll get into that stuff, I think, more towards the end of the episode or partway through.
Yeah.
But I remember there's a lot of things like I wouldn't consider that. I used to travel a lot. Like I've probably been to somewhere between 30 and 40 countries and, kind of all sorts of non-permissive environments. And you were pulling out things that you could get into anywhere. And I thought that was really cool. Like things that you wouldn't really look twice at, but would be really effective as, a weapon or a tool, or, getting into non-permissive areas, or dispatching someone, God forbid, if you really needed to in self-defense.
Yeah.
We'll get into that a little later, though.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a little foreshadowing. Some of the true 007 items are actually open on the civilian market. And I loved going into this field because, honestly, it was very regulated within the military. And of course, I can't speak to what tools that they had, but I can tell you that on the civilian market, there's a wide array of cool options that are exactly what he was alluding to there. That's like, they serve the purpose, help you get out. But if someone were to like wave a wand over you or do a thorough inspection at a border crossing, they wouldn't even think anything of it.
Yeah, like a padlock. Like I never considered all the fun and wacky and wonderful things you could use a padlock for.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And that doesn't look like anything. Like you can get a padlock in any country in the world. Do you follow Ed's manifesto?
I have. Yeah, more recently, actually.
Yeah, I've followed him for years and years and years. And, his tips and tricks and all of that were very much focused towards South America and like cartel things.
Yes.
But I remember reading a lot of those. One thing that I started doing when I traveled to countries where weapons and even things like knives, things that we so take for granted, like, pepper spray or knives, are really restricted in a lot of the world.
For sure. Yes. But I think there's some workarounds, like one tactic that a lot of operators tend to gravitate towards is actually like a paring knife, a small paring knife that you could use.
Yes.
That's
exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah. And guys will go into almost any hardware store or sometimes even grocery store, and they'll grab some tape and some, they'll use some kind of cardboard that they find either in the packaging or pick up somewhere else with that paring knife, an apple, a couple other snacks. And, before you know it, they use the tape to wrap around the cardboard to make a makeshift little
inside the waistband sheath.
Yeah, for that.
Sorry,
blade.
I cut you off.
Exactly. And then attach it to their belt so that whenever they grab their knife, it just slips right out, and it's as inconspicuous as anything whenever they first pick it up in country.
Yeah, I used a little loop of paracord to put it around a belt loop.
Mm-hmm.
And it works really well. I think the brand that Ed kind of wrote his stuff around was Pioneer Woman.
Okay.
Like it's really cute, ornate little paring knife that doesn't look like anything, and you can throw it in your checked luggage and take it to anywhere in the world.
Nice. Very cool.
Well, yeah. I'm sure not everywhere. Some places are getting a little silly.
Yeah. Yeah. And then just knowing what some of your good options are, not just for defense, but thinking about survival, evasion, getting out of some of those more difficult restraints. There's a lot of fun things to be able to put in your bag.
Kevlar cord was something that really surprised me. Something I never really thought about, or like Kevlar shoelaces. You want to get into that a little?
Yeah. So your small cordage or laces can be used. Most commonly, the application for getting out of restraints is actually using it as a friction tool to be able to braid, almost like a lot of times guys who have worked with PVC, they'll just use 550 cord and run it back and forth like in a saw motion, and it'll just cut right through that plastic material as the heat builds up.
It is wild to me how fast it works. Sorry, continue.
It's super fast. Exactly right. The Kevlar cord is even better at it because it dissipates the heat really well. So if you look on Amazon for firemen's laces, you'll find laces that are built exclusively out of Kevlar. And so they've actually used it to friction a braid through a 2x4, and you can imagine everything else in between. So that's pretty impressive to have that asset built into your hardware, and you take it every day and nobody ever thinks anything of it. Like
a bit of string. I think what one of the things you had was, and up to you if you want to censor this out, if you don't want people knowing, tricks of the trade, were a little bit of Kevlar cords sewn into your pants. It looked like nothing, like it was in the lining. Yeah, it's actually a 100-pound test Kevlar line, which it looks like really thick thread, but it is actually a thread that's super stout. You can use it for lashing down shelter if it's not extremely windy. You can use it as a bank line in fishing. You can use it in a lot of different, you can use it as a trip line, in making snares or warnings, but it works really well for cutting out of all kinds of polymer. I mean, that we were using that to bust out of those, not only zip ties, but also the zip cuffs. And you had the really heavy duty industrial cuffs. I sawed through that shit in seconds with them.
Yes. Yeah.
And the cool thing is, I think they're Safari Land.
I think you're right. Yeah. That's one of the sets we were using. So I would just stitch that on the inseam inside of my pants where the tails are kind of just barely able to be taken by my fingers. So if I can reach my feet, I can grab that cordage and use it as a friction saw. That's one of the tools that works really well, and it's hard to spot.
Yeah, I was going to say, you'd never look twice at that. Something about paracord and like paracord bracelets and all of that is you see that, and it's kind of like a grunt style T-shirt.
Yes,
like it's kind of like like a lifted Tacoma with like lost stickers on the back.
Yeah, exactly right. Like the dude with his tactical pen too. I mean, if you got a glass breaker on something that looks like you want to kill somebody with your pen, that's not going through border security, or most TSA agents pick up on that too. So there's a very cool covert pen though that has a diamond file hidden inside of it. It still works as a pen. It's got a titanium sheath that you can use as a stabbing implement, and then the cap actually has a handcuff key tied into it.
Really?
Yeah. But it just looks like a professional business pen. It doesn't look like anything special.
That's really cool. Do you know what it's called, like the brand or anything?
Yeah, usually I go to one of two different locations, Shomer Tech and Sparrows, and it's called an escape pen.
Sorry, I'm writing this down. This is terrible listening.
Yeah, you can find a lot of things on Amazon, but if you're going to go to actual, mother company websites, it's those two, or you're going to get, 80% of some of the best covert escape items out there. Another thing just to mention while we're on the topic is the covert escape ring, which is really cool because it's almost the exact size of my wedding ring. And so if I swap it out, it doesn't look like, nobody picks up on I'm wearing a different ring. And inside the between the ring and your finger is actually a small metal blade that has serrated edge you can use to be able to cut out things. And it's just thin enough and just wide enough to be able to use as a shim to get out of some of those handcuffs you don't like so much. So,
yes. Yeah, I had trouble with those. It took me a little longer than I'd like to admit.
That's okay. Canadians generally struggle. It's all good.
Yeah. What was that thing you said? Like the best way to get out of handcuffs is just a fucking handcuff key.
Yeah. And that's, so whenever you get into the nuts and bolts of it, there's several different styles. And because of the differences in which they manufacture them, you really got to be up on your cuffs. If you know 3 different styles, you're good for 90+% of applications. But If you don't have a handcuff key, that's where it really brings dividends to know what's the deficiencies and what's the most appropriate attack vector for that particular cuff. So, but the handcuff key works in all of them, and I generally keep one. And I'm assuming none of your listeners is going to try to apprehend me later, so I'll spill the beans. I will carry one in my belt that I take every day, and I've used that in a couple of tight spots. In training, I'll go ahead and preface that it was training applications, but in situations, if I didn't have that, I would maybe still be there today. Who knows? Yeah. In fact, one of them was kind of interesting. So I don't think the particular instructor cadre that I'm trying to keep this as hidden from would be listening to this podcast. I don't know. Maybe you will. Maybe you'll self-identify and be like, that guy. I know that guy.
Yeah.
But there was a 3-letter agency that I was doing some training with that we'll keep unnamed for now. But essentially, the drill was, having to go through several different restraint systems in the back of a semi-truck while it's traveling. And we were also being, closely watched by one of the guards. And we could not use handcuff keys. That's, just one of the cheap methods. Like, obviously, if you have a handcuff key, no worries, right? We were trying to get some other things accomplished. So anyway, this one particular lock was just, oh my gosh, it's like I had just defeated it and kept trying. It was like, this is not the same lock. I don't know why, but it was like basically seemed impossible. So I had to wait for a distraction. And that's when I used that handcuff key. Even though we were under direct supervision, I was able to covertly escape that particular restraint because I had it on my person, because it was accessible. And you might have to, play games and just not be seen whenever you do things like this. But I played it off well and kept the key in my mouth the rest of the day, and it worked. So
I mean, hey, they're universal. They're really, really little. It's pretty easy to hide them most anywhere, and you can get ones made out of almost any material. I know that you said you didn't really like plastic ones because they could break fairly easily, but in a pinch, possibly they could work.
Yeah, exactly. That's my particular posturing on them. I've had them break too many times on me personally. So, but a standard handcuff key does work universally for handcuffs. So that's helpful to know if you have one. I mean, the other way you can also do that is thinking about is if you have better empty hand skills, right? You've seen the movie Safe House, right, with Denzel Washington. And
funny enough, I don't think I have, and I like that kind of movies. That's weird.
You should watch it. It would be good because there's one point where one of the guys gets held up by some local law enforcement and they cuff him and he just kicks 6 law enforcement dudes' butts and takes the handcuff key and works it that way. So it's not saying like if you always have the handcuff key, you're good. If not, you might have to improvise, right? And maybe that means you're relying on your defensive skills more so in that situation. Not advocating for kicking any police butt anywhere.
Well, like all sorts of people can use handcuffs. Like anyone can just fucking buy them anywhere. So you can imagine a lot of bad actors. But I think you also mentioned statistically most bad actors or most people in general just kind of use like zip cuffs or tape or, hasty restraints with rope or something like that.
Right. Yeah, that's usually more so the case. And that's why we actually work through not only different types of tape, but the different kinds of ways people can be tied up with rope, zip ties, and zip cuffs, like you say, because statistically, you're much more likely to have some kind of a situation, kind of like what we talked about in South America, where the FARC, that criminal organization, actually found a Catholic priest that stumbled on one of their illegal activities. I mean, this guy was not, he just found himself in the wrong place, wrong time. And all they had with them at the time to apprehend him was packing tape. And so they literally wrapped this dude up like a mummy from head to toe in packing tape, threw him in the trunk of a car, and left him for a few minutes. And using one of the principles that we actually teach in the course, he was able to get out of that, which is pretty impressive, actually.
Friction?
It was one of the other things that we did in the course, which we'll keep as a mystery for those that want to attend.
Okay, deal. Can I talk about the friction thing? I just thought it was cool.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah, just like having my arms and legs wrapped up, just like taking them, and it didn't matter what kind of tape we used. It was like duct tape, packing tape, whatever. Just like rubbing them against the edge of a door frame or something like that. And the tape just split like magic after like a couple of seconds. I don't know why. I don't think, like, rationally in my head, it seems obvious, but I never would have considered it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things like that that if you've just never done it before, you didn't know that you could get out in under 3 seconds. It can be quite an eye-opening experience.
Yeah, because like I would never imagine it being that easy as the person restraining someone else or the person being restrained. You know, I think mindset is another thing that you talked about. That would be a big one. Like instead of just giving up and not thinking about escape or not thinking about what steps to take next, actually being proactive. I feel like that's a trap a lot of people fall into, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like mindset is something that I guess it seems obvious from the outside, but I know so many people that would get into situations like that and just be like, okay, this is my life now. Like, I'm here. Let's see what happens.
And many people have, right? You have that syndrome where basically people have just accepted that is their new way of life. And in fact, their captors are their friends, and they don't want to betray their friends' trust. That has happened to too many people. And so
Stockholm Syndrome, I think it's called.
Stockholm Syndrome. Yes, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I think that was based off a very specific case in Stockholm. 2 people, I think, were, or was it 1 or 2 women who were kidnapped who eventually ended up bonding with their kidnappers and helping them do things.
That was the use case that it was taken from, but there's been many people that it's happened to, especially in Vietnam. That's actually was part of their indoctrination process. And so we've actually had to develop, actual methods to be able to resist that tendency of people. But you see it in World War II. You see it in every prisoner of war situation, and then some that are just straight up. One of the shocking statistics, actually relating it back to present day for civilians, is how long do you think the average time is for illegal abduction and taking people hostage? How long do you think people are held in captivity?
That I don't know.
The average time is actually just over 6 years.
Really?
And so, like, there's been many people that have been taken by foreign entities, both bad actors in the state level as well as just criminal elements in so many countries around the world. But it's can be a surprisingly long amount of time. And then also, some people try to wish it away with insurance, because you can get captivity insurance or kidnapping insurance. And then that way, whenever they say, hey, give us your money, you're like, we can get you a check for $1 million. No worries, man. But even in that advent, there's only 50% of cases are actually helped whenever somebody pays their ransom. So it's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, that's kind of wild. I would imagine it would be a massive liability to kidnap someone off the street, have them, come to your facility, see faces, hear voices, right, and then let them go to whatever and business entity or family or whatever, mm-hmm, who would have money and motivation to get back. It would be a massive liability to leave people alive if you're a psychopath. And
which they do. Yes.
Which if you're doing this stuff, you're probably not exactly a pastor anyway. Yeah.
So that's definitely one core component that we teach at Great Man Academy, and with some of the other local classes too, like the Crucible. So we kind of have.
Yeah, I'm really sad I can't make that.
I understand. There's a lot of stuff happening, but you're going to make it to the next one, though, right?
Yes, I should be able to.
That'd be awesome, man. We need some Canadian actors.
Oh gosh, yeah. You should tell me a little about that, because I wanted to be there really badly, but closing on the house kind of took priority.
As it should, man. No worries at all. So the Crucible is our one-day crash course as kind of an introduction to all 3 topics of escaping criminal restraints, empty-handed combatives for street encounters, and defensive gunfighting for concealed carry. We do a 2-hour training block on all 3 of them, and that's just kind of really helpful for people to have a good starting point, especially if they're local and they don't have the extra coin to be able to throw at a exclusive experience at a mountain resort. There's 2 ends of the spectrum. For the Great Man Academy, what we were just talking about is actually held at a beautiful retreat up in the mountains next to the Canadian border. and that's where
I love that location.
It's awesome, isn't it? So pretty. We're actually scheduling a men's retreat there for mid-September right now with another organization, and then Chris Costa. Can I talk about that collaboration?
Fucking what?
Yeah.
wait, what?
So Chris Costa is actually helping us to get the word out on our Gray Man Academy in end of October. And
is he going?
He's coming out as a student. He's going to be going through the programming himself. He thought it was awesome. So, yeah. Tickets are being sold right now, just so you know.
Holy shit.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. He was excited about it because he's like, man, nobody else does this, and that's one of our biggest. There's a lot of gunfighting trainers. There's a lot of dojos where you can learn a lot of cool things, but nobody ties it all together, and nobody really cares the escaping criminal restraints and the hostage prevention aspect that we do at Gray Man Academy. So yeah, he's coming out last weekend in October. I think it's the 29th through November 1st. But anyway, it's on our website is the next cohort, and we can drop a link in there to go with the podcast if guys are interested.
Yeah. If you're listening to this, there's a chance that I will be there too. So I guess you can possibly hang out with me also.
I think you're going to have to be. We're going to need some role players. We're doing more and more scenario training and getting away from some of the static range stuff that still has a lot of value, but we're getting more clientele that are like, okay, we want to be ready for real world encounters and not just know how to shoot our gun. Because a lot of the guys know how to run their guns pretty effectively already. So
I would come help staff.
Awesome, man. Very cool. Maybe potentially get shot in the face by somebody named Chris in Simunitions. I don't know.
Repeatedly.
More than likely. So yeah, it's super cool. He sponsored a full seat. So he paid almost $8,000 in advertising for helping us to get that out there. So his entire audience, over 450,000 people just got the opportunity to come join us for free. I just told the guy this morning that he won. It's a guy named Sam in New Jersey. So we're doing his onboarding call. I'm going to be posting that on social media here. That's the next call after this one.
Well, I'm going to just geek out for a little bit because like the whole fanboy thing is not really me. Like I'm not really like, oh yeah, so and so the YouTuber, so and so. Chris Costa was my onboard into this entire fucking world. Like I was watching his shit while I was still in there. Like Magpul Dynamics, like
the OG.
The OG. I fucking got it on BitTorrent because they wouldn't ship it to Canada.
Yeah. Love it.
I downloaded that shit with my slow ass internet and then went and did drills with my Ruger Mini 30 at the range. And then with the C7, people are like, oh, you should hold it by the magwell. Like, fuck off. And then I felt like such a little big dick badass. And I thought, and then I ended up meeting him like over a decade later at SHOT Show at the Circle Bar. And again, this is not something that happens. I don't look at people like I'm a grown ass man, but I saw Chris Costa and like all those memories came flooding back. I'm like, holy shit. Like if it wasn't really for you, this show probably wouldn't exist.
Yeah. I feel you, man.
Yeah. Like I probably wouldn't be doing a lot of the things that I'm doing. And, I went up and talked to him and I just wanted to say like, hi and thank you, which is again, something I don't really like doing. And he was so humble and kind and like, I don't know what I was expecting. I expected him to be like a good dude, but he was a good dude. So yeah, that's my take.
I love it. Him and Travis Haley, I feel like they set the bar when gunfighting training was the Wild West. They're like, no, guys, here's the standard. We need to at least do this. And I did a little bit of a fanboy thing too. Whenever I first got on the Zoom call and he's like onboarding for the training, I was like, I just got to say, man, like, I was the guy that went to the range right after watching all of those series and still used a lot of that stuff in our curriculum. And, thank you for setting the bar. And he's just like, you're welcome. Now let's get into it. Okay. Got it. Cool.
Yeah. I love that. That's so friggin' cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one of the more exciting things that's happening around here. Chris Costa coming up.
Are you doing more crucibles? Because I want to make it out to more of those as well. I mean, obviously you just said like come to the next one.
Yeah, September 5th in Coeur d'Alene again. We're moving locations. It's not going to be at Fernan. We got indoor setting. It's still be in Hayden, though. So it'll be right next door. So
that's good.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you were doing force on force, and that place no longer has a kill house, I don't think. Fernan.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. I heard some gun tuber fucked it up for everyone.
Perfect, as it's tradition. That's why we can't have nice things.
Yep. They just got rid of it for liability's sake. I'm saying that with no venom in my voice. I actually don't know who it was. Sure. I'm going off unsubstantiated rumors. But it still sucks because how many live fire kill houses can you generally get access to?
Right.
Yeah, what one within a couple hours of drive, and that's the one in Beauville. It's about the size of like a 1-bedroom apartment.
Sure, yeah, but at least they have it. That's nice.
Yeah, it's nice. Like it's better than no kill house.
Yeah,
but, the one at Fernan was actually like fairly nice. It was a whole like 1,500 square foot structure, I want to say.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah, we're going to be in the same neck of the woods, running. We got several dates coming up: September 5th, October 3rd, November 7th. So we're actually running. When it comes to the Crucible, it's kind of like our onboarding course. It's an introduction, so that's why we try to keep the price tag under $100 per person.
Yeah,
and that way they can get exposure to all the different things that we do. They can get a foundation if they're new to the game, if they haven't done force on force or escaping restraints, or maybe it's been a while since they've done combatives. Great, we got some stuff, and we rolled it out as 3 separate curriculums. So there's Iteration Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie. The one that you're going to be coming to help us with is Iteration Bravo. So it's the same core thesis and principles, but the application is a little bit different for guys that want to come back and learn some more.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Hit all those skill levels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's awesome too because people. That's the thing that's getting people more into the game, because if you put a gunfighting course in front of your stay-at-home mom, and she's like, the what? I'm doing what? But this course is more so about, being capable to protect yourself for lethal encounters at home or on the street. And it's holistic in terms of you're getting an introduction to 3 different topics. And the wow factor really goes up whenever people can, jump in and start to see the world unfold around them in a totally new environment, totally new skill set. Or just a different, look at something that they're already familiar with. Because we had all comers the last one, and it was a really good time. We had several different stations, had a black belt running the combative stage, and then Chris Schaefer with Make Ready. He does a lot of force on force training, was helping us out with the other pit with the force on force drills. So there's a lot going on. We cover lunch as well. Everything's catered. It's just not something that you're going to find.
Look at you.
$100.
I will say your catering is really good. Not trying to like turn this into a fucking ad, but holy shit, the food! Oh my god! Yeah, was it the same lady? Like
it is. Her name's Pam. She's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, she seems like a Pam. Pams can all cook.
Yes. Yep. She's good.
I've never met a Pam that can't cook.
Right.
Holy shit, dude! I like that drive home. I was falling the fuck asleep because my stomach was so full of like chicken Alfredo or whatever the fuck we ate.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry, continue.
No, it's basically what we're trying to do is for the Crucible training, which is all that we just described. We're trying to keep the bar as low as possible because we understand, we've actually redefined our mission. I don't know if you knew that or not, Nathan, but our goal is actually to help out 10,000 people by 2030 in life-saving skills, practical in-person courses. And we're about at the 1,000 mark, just a little under. But to hit 10,000, the only way we can do it is to get a lot of new people through the door. And that's why we're trying to remove all the barriers so people don't have to bring lunch. They don't have to bring ammo. They just bring themselves, and it's under $100 and they get exposure to all the different aspects. So
yeah, I love that. Yeah, the local boys group chat was talking about going. I don't know if anyone ended up going from it, but I hope so.
Yeah, we had guys coming from all over. In fact, there was 3 guys that were threatening to fly across the country just for a single day of training. I was shocked. It's like, bro, you should do that for the $500 and above courses, not the $97 course.
Not the one. Yeah, but no, I like it. It's like also little courses like that. I find, at least for me, it shows like deficiencies in what I already know. It's like if I think I know this stuff, it's like, oh, in practice, this didn't work out the way that it did. It's kind of like airsoft. If any, like, Does that make any sense? I kind of want to do like milsim and things like that.
Right.
Not for like you're not going to go in and get like, oh yeah, hell yeah, we're going to go do battle drill 1 in this very specific scenario. It's like, no, but if you do it right, you can kind of kick rust off, if that makes any sense, and see deficiencies in what you do.
Yeah.
And I think in your case, like you're straight up introducing new concepts to a lot of people. I'd never thought about stuff like escaping or what's that phrase I kept on using with good humor? Sentry dispatch.
Oh, sure.
Yes. Which was the funniest thing in the fucking world to me, but
yeah, right. And that's why you see both Mike and I are carrying like garrotes around our neck conveniently with pointy stabby implements on the end of them as necklaces. Yeah.
I like Mike. Is he helping with the next couple of courses?
Yeah. He was there helping us with the Crucible too. Like the guy is the master of the arts. He has been for the last 20, 30 years. So,
dude, I saw that man, like his face and how he carries himself, and just like 3% body fat, just like jacked. Right. Like he looks like he's been killing people around the world for the last 30 years. Like, and then he opens his mouth and he's like, "Oh, hey guys!" Like the nicest guy in the world. I love that guy. He's fantastic.
Yeah, he is the best. You know what his secret is?
What?
I don't know. But he eats a whole handful of brownies every night, and I don't know how he does it with 3% body fat. I don't know how he does that.
I was going to say, is the guy just doing calisthenics like 24/7 when we're
He's like, I work out a lot. I'm like, yeah, how do you work out that much, man? A full pan, and I just saw you consume the entire thing, bro. Get out of here.
Yeah, I have no idea how old he is, but he looks great for his age, whatever it is. Unless he's like a really rough 30, then I don't know what to tell you.
And he's straight up doing executive protection full time for congressmen right now. So I'm lucky whenever I get him.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. He obviously really, really, really knows his skill, knows his skill set.
Yeah, not like some Canadians we bring to help.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, dude. I make this shit up as I go along.
No, the funny thing was at the last course, you're like, I can barely pull the trigger because I just shot like an obscene amount, like a few 100,000 rounds with my training system. So there's that.
Yeah, I gave myself golf elbow. Like for real golf elbow is really stupid. Apparently it's something that like old dudes get. I saw what's his nuts. Sage Dynamics has to get cortisone shots in his wrists now.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I got a Ace VR. We did a video about it, like with Charlie Cox. Like, hey, can this video game make you actually good at shooting?
Nice.
But yeah, no, it took me out for like 6 months. I got like every time I picked up dog food bags at the store, both my forearms would just light on fire. It's so gay. Like I have this fucking, like from physiotherapy, I have this green dildo looking thing I have to twist. It's awful.
Gosh.
Yeah, no, it sucks. Literally shot too much toy handgun, broke both my arms.
That's memeable. Very good. Good job.
Yeah, it's not even a real handgun. It's a fucking video game controller. Dude, it's so gay.
But in one respect, it seemed to have paid off. Like you were landing them, and your split times were really looking good, man. So that was cool.
You. It's low for my standards because I hadn't shot in like 6 fucking months, and I haven't really shot much since then for the same reason. Like it's a very long recovery, unfortunately. I'm old now, apparently. Yeah, no, this is like the rich people. I've got 2 rich people diseases now, I guess. I have fucking gout, and golfer's elbow, which is so gay, so fucking, or also known as tennis elbow, which is just as gay. I'm going to shut the fuck up now. Oh god, pull-ups helps. I stopped doing that for a really long time because like doctors like, hey, yeah, don't do physical activity, don't do that stuff. But apparently it fucking works. It hasn't hurt in like 3 weeks, and that's nice.
Nice. You say the pull-up diapers help? Nice.
The pull-up diapers help. They catch everything before it hits the floor.
Awesome. Yeah, talk about old man's diseases. All right, good. I'm glad to know there's no boundaries here today. That's awesome.
Oh, Michael, you fucking know me. Jesus,
yeah.
There's no boundaries at all.
So yeah, diapers, some other cool stuff you can hide in them.
Diapers. That's where I keep my Draco.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
I wish I had a Draco still. I used to have one, but I just didn't. My skin didn't have enough melanin content to keep it. So I ended up going to a friend. I got a Zastava now, and that thing's pretty nice. But
nice. That's cool.
Yeah. But what else do you teach in the Crucible course? Like it's a little bit of open hand combatives. I remember when we were doing that, it was a lot of like put someone down really hard, really fast, like scoop out their eyes kind of shit. Hold on to their temple, push thumb into eye and scoop outwards kind of thing. Sorry if that's like protected knowledge, we can cut that out.
Trade secret, man.
Trade secret. Yeah.
It's exactly that. We're looking at streetwise empty hand defense whenever your life's on the line for critical encounters. Basically, everything that's as lethal as pulling out your weapon and pulling the trigger on some perp. You want to be able to dispatch somebody as effectively at the close distances. In fact, I would actually argue that if you're not dangerous in the shower, right, that you're undertrained. And so that's been kind of a core philosophy for me. And really, whenever you understand how to destroy somebody's anatomy, the cool thing is that we all have the same anatomy. We all have the same basic skeleton, nervous system, organs, etc. And it doesn't really matter how tough a guy is at the point whenever you carve the eyeball out of his socket. You know, that eyeball is no longer functioning. The other eye is tearing up. And it's effective at stopping a threat, or at least giving you that small window that you need to be able to take your elbow and collapse their trachea, or break their collarbone, or fold their knee backwards with your foot stomp, or whatever it is.
I'm really surprised how well that works. Like I've seen multiple videos of it now, just dudes breaking legs super easily, and just with the amount of force you can put in with that little donkey. Oh my God! Sorry, continue.
Yeah, absolutely. And so basically, you just want to be able to take out, not just one, but probably multiple assailants that are probably bigger or faster or stronger or, better equipped, or all of the above. And so, if you can't dispatch somebody as quickly or potentially even faster than drawing your gun or going to some other weapon that you're carrying with your bare hands, then I would say that's kind of a training issue. And there's a lot of places that people have to travel where they cannot take their weapon. I don't know the last time that you traveled internationally, but just nationally, it is a pain in the butt to take your weapon. If you're going out of,
legally,
US, it's not even really tentative for most countries to travel with anything that's deemed a weapon. And so now you're going into unknown areas with some unknown potentials of adversaries and criminal elements, depending on how well you've know the area or done your research. And you don't have your standard stack of weapons. And so that's where being able to use your hands and your feet effectively in the shortest amount of time possible really comes into play. So that's some of the kind of things that we really focus on. And then it's no good if the black belt can do it who's been training for 10 years. We got to train these people in a very tight window. And I would actually argue that the 2-hour time frame is probably the shortest period of time in which it has been there's been case studies that's been effective for people months, years later to be able to accurately, respond to a critical incident and defeat somebody with their bare hands. It's actually happened. If you have less than that and you're not a good trainer, good luck. We really try to fit it into one full focus day. And that can be a challenge sometimes depending on what kind of student you have, to start off with. But really our whole effort and the heart behind the training is that whether people have a background or not, if they're starting from level 0, we want them to walk away into the next day with the capability and the confidence that they know what to do when the time comes, whenever they or somebody they care about is threatened and they need to be able to deal out lethal action appropriately. So that's really the core focus. And people have been able to do that in a short amount of time, compressed windows like that. And so that's kind of neat. There's actually been case studies that they've been effective in employing that combatives after only 2 hours of training, which I don't know, from a trainer's perspective, you tell me that's kind of impressive, honestly.
Yeah, no, very, very, very.
So yeah, that's the other component. And then we do force on force gunfighting. There's another thing that's been more and more showcasing that there's a lot of guys that go out to the range and get that flat range time and get their basics down, right? The fundamentals of your stance, your grip, your trigger control, your vision, sight alignment, all that stuff. And you should be able to do that. But, if you look at any real world footage, or if you've gone through some of these incidents yourself, experienced it first or second hand, you understand that there's very little of that actually plays into the situation. A whole lot more about the right tactic, taking action at the appropriate time, and just having that fighting mentality. And those are the things that really come to light and come to surface. And people can make mistakes in the force-on-force training, because there's another person that is thinking and can maneuver and can use either a sim round or airsoft or whatever it is in a realistic live scenario. And you've got to kind of walk and move on, think on your feet. And whenever you don't, that's whenever you or somebody else in the scenario catches a bullet. And it's good, because that's the best place to make your mistakes. That's the best place to realize, I should watch my background before I start sending lead, because I just hit that poor person that was back there, did not deserve a bullet that day. Or maybe I should get off the freaking X whenever I pull my gun, or heck, wait my turn and not try to pull from concealment when there's a gun staring me down in the face. That's a good way to get shot in the face. And you'd be surprised how many people do that, because it's their first rodeo, and they're like, I should probably do something. Well, not that and not then, but you don't really know until you get shot a few times. And then you're like, okay, I need to be a little bit more smart about how I do things.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting. Are you going to use sim rounds for your, for the force on force? Or are you going to do airsoft?
We have sim rounds or airsoft, just depending on the context and what guns we're working with.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Are sim rounds still hard to get? I know that things got really squirrely with them for a little while, and a lot of places that I know switched to airsoft.
Yes.
I don't know if they ever loosened that back up.
They did. It was illegal to purchase new, but then they did revoke that law. So I believe it's still like $2 a round as opposed to like 2 cents a round for airsoft. So there's that difference.
Oof,
but
yeah,
it's available again.
Yeah. I would argue that reps are the most important thing a lot of the time,
Yeah.
Like airsoft's not going to have some of that haptic feedback of stoppages in the same way, or like extraction issues or anything like that. But I don't know. I also don't know. I haven't done a ton of force on force stuff in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think it's cool to see how some people choose the more humble application, and they're just like, what, if it's not life threatening, I don't have to defend my ego, and I don't have to draw on some dude, and if he just needs to, I'll create a little bit of space and back down. And then you have other people that are just like, no, I got an excuse to shoot somebody in the face, let me go and let me do the thing. And you can really
Pitbull on toddler reaction.
What's that?
Pitbull on toddler's reaction.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So it's cool. It's cool to see people under some simulated pressure, which, whenever it's a good simulation, you can't really tell the difference between that and reality. It can get very real whenever there's people shooting at you or trying to hold you up with a practice knife or anything else. There's a lot of good opportunities to learn lessons. And like we would like to point out, it's not about making every decision perfect, because you're probably not going to. It's more so about taking those lessons home such that you don't make them on the day whenever it really comes down to it.
Yeah. And I think that's important. It makes sense. Anyways, we're cutting this episode a little short because you've got 2 meetings pretty soon. But
yeah, this is go time. We got a lot of stuff happening this week, but I appreciate you fitting us in.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry that we got to cut it short. I guess we're going to have to do another one when we wrap up, or kind of whenever you want, really.
Sure.
Before we wrap it up, is there anything else you really want to talk about before we talk about how to actually sign up for your courses?
Oh, sure, man. Yeah, I think one of the things we were starting to allude to a little bit is some of those international travel everyday carry items that are a little bit different.
Oh, bag builder.
Yeah. So I collaborated with Off Grid Magazine, which is a subsidiary of Recoil Magazine, which is, my personal opinion, probably the best gun magazine out there, but whatever. They're cool people. Great. They put on some cool events and whatnot. And so I was working together. The editor for Off Grid Magazine came out to Gray Man Academy as well. And so after working together with them on some other side projects, they're undisclosed in Pennsylvania and some other courses. what we did is we collaborated on a bug out bag builder, and it kind of correlates to what you were talking about. But essentially, and we'll provide the link there for people that are interested, but essentially what it is, it's an interactive web app where you have 4 different sets or different kinds of go bags for different situations. We got the inch bag, which is I'm never coming home bag, right? There's the bug out bag where you're going to be bugging out to a location. There's the get home bag where you're at a location and trying to get back home. And then there's the whoosh bag, which stands for wake up, shit's happening. It's like in the middle of the night, your house is on fire. You got to bug out like quick, or you're at a hotel and the door's breaking in, whatever it is. It's kind of scaled up and scaled down, but it's that whoosh bag that we have videos that correlate to everything and talk about in that video, kind of go into more detail about the differences between your everyday carry, what you can take in a small bag appropriately, CONUS versus OCONUS. And so that kind of goes into the nitty gritty and some more details, like a half-hour video or whatever on YouTube. But there's some different principles in play, and we kind of alluded to some of them already, thinking about the escaping component. How do you carry that across borders? But there's one template. I'll leave the audience with this that helps kind of frame the mindset of what should go into my bag and what shouldn't. And it's really kind of correlating to a survival principle called your 5 basic needs. So I don't know, did we ever talk about this before?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, so 5 basic needs. If you think about it, inside the survival context, you're going to have some basic needs to be able to sustain yourself. Some people talk about air, and that's kind of presumed, like, yes, we need to breathe. Absolutely. Check that box. Moving on. But besides that, what are some other basic survival must-haves to be able to sustain yourself in a difficult or hazardous environment and be able to get back? What do you think some of those components would be?
I would imagine the things to sustain your basic. I mean, I don't know if this is going in self-evident with air, but things like food and water, or at the very least, just water.
Yep, food and water. So we put that in one category and call it sustenance. And, everything about that, if you're looking at holistic survival, from understanding where to apprehend the water, how do you filter it, how do you carry it, how do you keep it from freezing in cold environments. But just as a basic lens to look in, what should be going in this purpose-built bag versus what should not. This is a really good guiding principle. If you have something appropriate for food and water, that could be like a little snack, protein bar, and leather, and something like jerky and a water bottle, and boom, food, water. I got it, right? Do you even need that if it's the middle of the night? Probably not, but just understanding, I've got something in that category. Okay, so that's sustenance. You hit 1 of 5. Let's see if we can work through the rest of them.
I would imagine the ability to protect yourself against environmentals, like cold weather, hot weather, kind of whatever.
Exactly. So that's a really good point. So we put that under the shelter category, or sustainment from the elements, which is not just like a tent or a lean-to or tarp, but you can also put your clothing in that category. You can also put fire in that category because it's helping you keep at that 98.6. So that is a really good thing to think about. And then I also think about protection not only from the elements, but also from adversaries. And so depending on, is it strict survival in a permissive situation, or are we in an impermissive area where it's a hazardous environment and we're thinking about protecting ourselves from, could be large predatory animals, or, the 2-legged predators that are universally around the world. So that, again, has 2 subsections, and as protection, personal protection is kind of the category we put that under. So from the elements and from adversaries be the 2 buckets I put that in. So there we go. There's 2 out of 5. All right.
Oh, geez. My third one was going to be protection from adversaries.
Okay.
Non-permissive environments. I didn't expect those 2 to go together.
Okay.
I would imagine transport, like not necessarily. Oh, yes. Okay, cool. Yeah. I was all right. I'm going to save my next one for the fourth, I guess.
Movement, or we could call it navigation or transportation. And then most people, whenever they're thinking about survival, they generally are like, okay, I need my map and my compass, my good boots, and I'm rucking out there. That may be, but also we're trying to think of what are some other modes of transportation that we could find whether that be, waterborne or stealing a bicycle if your life depended on it, or, commandeering, or even the tradecraft skills about, being able to break into a vehicle and get it up and running in a non-permissive environment. That's totally kosher if you're at war or there's a criminal element, or I'm not trying to advocate for anything illegal, guys. Don't read that into it. But I'm saying in a survival context, you're thinking foot mobile and vehicle borne would be the transportation. So there you go. You got that too. That's awesome. Another thing that we haven't really hit on that's kind of lends itself to all of it is medical, right?
Yes.
And so your medical.
That was going to be my fourth.
There you go. Awesome. You're doing great.
Okay, cool.
And that the two categories underneath there are, of course, your physical health, but also your mental health. And so if you're really talking about long-term survivability, it is, if you've ever seen the TV show Alone, what are the last characters? They're like, they got tons of food. They've got their shelter built up. They're just hanging out. And then they're like, you know what? I miss my kids too bad. I'm out of here. So like that can happen. And so your mental health is something to be able to keep up on, especially for that long-term survival. So there you go, medical. And there's one last one that's really helpful that we haven't hit on yet. I know you can think of it.
Because there's two ways that this would be going.
Sure.
I don't know if this is going to be the one, but like access, if that makes any sense. And that kind of goes into like the escaping aspect. Like not necessarily that you'd have to do that. This is probably stuff that you, at least I know, carry on your person. But say you end up like tied up, hogtied somewhere. Say you have to get into a room that, has plumbing or water or medicine or something like that without breaking the door down, or, like the tools to access things that you wouldn't normally have access to. Like this could be anything from like a shim to a lockpick to a multi-tool to Kevlar cord to whatever. I'm just spitballing here, but that's something that I would assume. Yeah.
I think that's a great thing. So depending on your context, I would actually put that under the tools for travel. So depending on, what barriers you have to work through, and if you're trying to, evade and escape, right, that would be things that would kind of go into your ability to move. So that I would put that under the travel category personally. But it's a great thing to think about, and it's definitely something to consider. And then another thing that we actually have, the last thing in your 5 basic needs is usually considered communications. We haven't really hit that yet, and so far we're just surviving out there by ourselves, And so if I can call you and you can bring in, your side by side that's tricked out with a 30 cal or whatever you've got, flamethrower, man, I don't know what you got, but man, if I could just
Cloak Industries TM MFR 56 now available from cloakindustries.com.
Exactly.
Thumbs up.
Right. All that stuff, man. Like if you have a quick reaction force or just a buddy on call, that communications is usually your first lifeline that you try as soon as everything goes sideways. So communications, you can spin that out a bunch of different ways. The way as I look at it is you have electronic, which is your first go-to, and then you have non-electronic. So everything you're thinking about, a signal fire, a signal mirror, auditory like whistle, having a flare, popping that off, just so many different ways to get people's attention.
High vis cloth on a string.
Exactly. Right. So, but then under your electronic communications, you got everything from satellite to ham radio to your cell phone to the landline to you name it. There's a lot of different ways to get a hold of people electronically. Email. I carry a Garmin InReach for that reason. And it's great because it works off the Iridium satellite network, which gets even better reception in harder to reach places. And it's really good unit, and it's so small and compact. If you get the mini version, it's like almost the size of Liam Neeson's covert satellite phone that he uses in his boot. It's not quite that small, but it's pretty small. So it's kind of a good thing to add into your stack. And that's everything that you have: communications, health, personal protection, sustenance, and travel. And so if you have all 5 of those categories, if you just had the most minimalistic thing And you're like, okay, well, what do I have in each of these categories? Is that appropriate for the environment, for this context, for the window of time that I'm expecting to be out here? And then is that the best thing for your most likely dangerous scenario and your worst case dangerous scenario? And if it is, bing, bang, boom, you got a good plan and a good set of gear, because it's always going to be modified and tailored to what you have. So if you look at it through that lens, your 5 basic needs, I find that that's always helpful for guys to not underpack or overpack, which is something I know we all struggle with. So yeah,
that's really freaking cool. And you have, where can we find this article? I know that you said Off Grid magazine.
Yeah. So Off Grid has a number of different articles on Bug Out Bag, and there's usually a QR code or a link. I can also send it to you so you can tie it in with the podcast. But basically, there's 4 different templates, and then we talk about the principles, and I go through a bunch of gear that I use and I put in those bags for different scenarios. And so people kind of have a go-to reference. They can double click it. And I actually put it in a format where you know what the weight is, and it has the weight listed. And so you can mix and match. So you can be like, man, I got all the gear I wanted, and this pack is going to weigh 75 pounds. It's like,
ounces become pounds.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, that's kind of cool. You can even add your own items in there and say, this is going to be a 2-ounce toothbrush and a 4-pound brick of ammo. And, so anyway, it's kind of a fun tool. And that way you're not actually going out and buying everything, putting it on a baby scale and being like, okay, 14 ounces. Got it.
Yeah. So. It reminds me of a guy I know out here whose Bug Out Bag has 3 handguns in it. Right. 2 of them are different calibers. Like, what are you fucking doing, bud?
Right. And how many miles does he hump that pack? Probably none.
None. 0. Yeah. Oh my God, dude. His gear's all brand spanking fucking new. Sure. And it's important to note he's had all of these things for like 6 years, and I don't think he's taken them out once. He does not listen to this show though, so
we're safe.
Yes, yes. I don't like shitting on people in ways that I wouldn't also make fun of them to their face. So rest assured, I've also said this to his face.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, I really appreciate you coming on, Michael. Is there any? I know that this is going to be kind of a multi-pronged answer, so I'm going to give you a bit of time to answer it the best you can. Where can we find you?
So best place to find us is arctraining.net. We also have a school community now, SKOOL. So it's a private community, and that is Gray Man Tactical. If you look up Arc Training on YouTube, and we've got some different things on Instagram.
Oh, you have a YouTube now?
Yeah, we do.
Somehow I didn't know that. I have no friggin' idea. You haven't come up in my news feed in a little while. I also don't spend a lot of time online. But
yeah, we're actually going to be having probably a lot more escape training videos parsing out, because we have a complete course called Escape Protocol that is digital now. So that's our first fully launched digital course, and there'll be elements of that coming out on YouTube as well.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah. Otherwise, if you bomb your house, I might be around somewhere locally doing some training. So yeah. Just in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, servicing I know that you do mostly northern Washington and northern Idaho. Is there anywhere else you'll be doing courses?
There's always the potential. But most of them are government contracts, so it's not open for civilian enrollment. So I'll just keep those on the low.
Yeah, probably a good call. But yeah, Michael, thank you so much for coming on. Before I let you go, as you know, I don't know if you remember, it's been a minute since we recorded. 2 things. 1, do you have any dad advice for our listeners?
Dad advice. Oh man.
If you find a cat on your doorstep, it's yours now.
Yeah, this is true. I would just say, take the moments that you're handed to make sure that the people around you know that you love them, because you just never know how long you're going to have, or other people in your circle are going to be there. And so don't waste those moments in frustration or anything else. And, if you're in a tough situation, just make sure you laugh and pray, and not always in that order, but, those are 2 good things that you can do.
Yeah, no, I think that's great dad advice. Lastly, sorry, I'm dropping so many things on you last minute. Recommend a book, movie, game, any piece of media, just something that you've been enjoying lately, or the last time you had free time all of 10 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely, man. There's so many good books I've been reading this year. The Warrior Poet Way by John Lovell, Dangerous Gentleman by Victor Marx. Man, those are some really good man books that just
books.
Yes, very much. Some amazing stuff there. And then I'll throw out a wild card too, because it's actually been radically changing my life and my perspective about the afterlife. And that is Imagine Heaven. And it's literally a collection of over 2,000 people for the last couple hundred years, a lot of them present day, who have straight up died clinically, left their bodies, and had some experience in, seeing the fringes of heaven or hell. And then they came back and they've, shared, even whenever it was very difficult for them and it cost them their career, reputation, etc. We're talking not just hundreds, but literally thousands of people. And the findings have been absolutely amazing. Imagine Heaven. Yeah. By there's a follow-up book called Imagine the God of Heaven. It's more of the same. All right. But it's very, very cool. And it's honestly, it has shifted a lot of things that I've thought and held as just, certainties in terms of what's going to happen after our bodies expire. But it's fascinating. And there's actually correlations that line up with across cultures, across ages, across continents, very similar experiences by a lot of these people. And so it wasn't just like restricted to a certain sect or cult or religious facet. So it's very fascinating. I thought it was awesome.
That's actually super interesting. Yeah, no, I really appreciate that. That's good ass media. I'm going to be checking that out really soon. My recommendation for media, because I just have to get my 10 cents in, is go play the OG Modern Warfare trilogy. It fucks. It's great.
Nice.
I've been being like, oh, read this book, fucking watch this movie so much lately. No, go enjoy some fucking Activision slop. I love that shit.
Yeah.
The new games, and they're just god awful. But no, the OG Modern Warfare trilogy, chef's kiss. Anyways, thank you, Michael. I appreciate you coming on, and I will be seeing you really soon. Guys, go check out his courses. If you go and do any of his courses, hit me up. I will likely be going. So just awesome. Let me know, and we can fucking hang out and tie each other up and do gay shit.
Or maybe not. Maybe wait.
Or maybe not. Maybe not. We'll keep that between. If it's with the homies, it ain't gay.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to the Art and War podcast, guys. Sorry this one's a short one. I'm poaching him between meetings. So, okay, bye.